Well, since you're there enjoying your coffee, why don't we go ahead and just jump ahead to the anti-SLAPP legislation that you're working on?
Yeah. So for people who don't know what it is, I'm not sure if you guys were already talking about it or not. It's obviously really hectic here first day, but a SLAPP, it sounds like a slap, like someone slaps you in the face, but SLAPP stands for strategic. That's the key, strategic lawsuit against public participation. And basically it's what most people think about when they think about, the term frivolous lawsuit. I know lawyers don't like that. So they prefer a meritless lawsuit, public nuisance, those things that are kind of subjective. So what this bill does, so that's a SLAPP lawsuit. Like you get sued over a mean tweet, or I don't like a link you put in your blog, or, it's kind of that subjective thing where people are offended, strategically offended. But what this bill does is it combats it basically gives people who are being attacked with a SLAPP lawsuit, it gives them free speech protection. And it protects their right, the public's right, to engage in free speech activities, which are obviously protected by the First Amendment, without having to worry about, expensive or abusive lawsuits. So if you're being targeted strategically with like a BS lawsuit, this bill would provide you some protection as a regular citizen.
So how prevalent of a problem is this in Idaho versus other states where this legislation has passed? Because I know it's passed in other states. And what has it done? How has it helped?
Yeah. So I'm not going to comment. Well, let me say this first. This bill has nothing to do with any specific case in Idaho. It's not like, hey, I saw this case, therefore I think we need. The origin of this came about. I was talking to the president of the Institute for Free Speech about just some other stuff earlier last year in 2023, and he said, Brian, Idaho is one of only 18 states with zero protection for SLAPP lawsuits. And I said, I knew what a SLAPP lawsuit was. I said, well, there's nothing. He's like, there's nothing. Anyone can sue anyone for anything. You get tied up in court. People can be bankrupted, spend a year plus in court. So I said, well, we should fix that. So that's, first of all, this isn't based on any specific case. This is based on several conversations I've had with organizations who are interested in helping protect free speech. And I'm not going to comment on specific cases, but I think everybody knows someone who's gotten sued over something that's BS, or they've read about a lawsuit. But what it does is it's the 50,000 foot view. It's a free speech protection. It protects your First Amendment right. Because otherwise, what could happen is, hey, I write a tweet or whatever. I share a link in a blog, or I said something that someone didn't like. Well, they said, well, I'm going to sue you for defamation. So, and this isn't just an Idaho problem. This is a nationwide problem. But what the problem is most average everyday people don't have the time and or the money to be tied up in court for a year. So we've all heard of the term lawfare, right? It's like warfare. People will use lawsuits knowing they're going to lose just to bankrupt someone and tie them up in court. They're called distraction lawsuits. So what this does, what this bill does, and Utah just passed the same bill last year in 2023. We already talked about it. Protects your free speech, but it also expedites the process. So say you're getting targeted by a lawsuit that's complete BS. What this bill does, it doesn't make you go through a year of court and then all those attorney's fees. You're tied up in court for a year, you're paying all these fees. You don't have to do that because your lawyer, say Matt, I'm suing you for something, right? That is clearly just a BS lawsuit. Your lawyer could file under this bill, if it passes, your lawyer could file an anti-SLAPP motion, which basically puts a stay on the entire case. And the judge says, okay, before we do anything, and it allows limited discovery for those people who understand how lawsuits work. But basically it would make my lawyer prove on day one that this lawsuit's even worth having. And if it's not, you deal with it immediately instead of being tied up in court, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
It expedites the process. So like average people aren't bankrupted by, someone or a corporation or something suing them who just has tons of money and can just be in court for years.
Yeah, Senator, this is great. I'm really glad that you're bringing this forward. This is something we desperately need. We've run out of time here. I know you're headed over to listen to the governor's speech, so
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you jumping in the seat early here, and just let everybody know where we can follow you and stay in touch with you.
Yeah, so two things. I'm pretty active on Twitter. Facebook is a dumpster fire now that it's not. But Twitter, it's Brian with an I _Lenney. And we're going to be talking about Anti-SLAPP, a group of people, Wednesday night on Twitter on a symbol X Idaho. So if someone really wants to dig into this, they can check it out there.
Fantastic. We'll make sure to tweet that stuff out and share it out. Thank you, Senator.
All right, good talking.